So here's an old video. Stephen Hawking, before he had the robot voice, he had a human interpreter. Listen up.
Stephen, when did you first realize you wanted to be a physicist?
Oh, I
think I knew from about the age of 9 or 10 that I wanted to be a scientist. Most of my activities, like playing with model fireworks, or model railroads, or playing complicated games, was aimed in some way at finding out how the world worked around me.
Yeah, guys, before the technology existed that assisted him in speaking, you know, that box with the robot voice. Yeah, before that technology that only he got to use, that only one man in the world got to use, before that technology, they had an interpreter. You see, this is a super genius. He's not a regular genius. This guy is a freaking super genius. And he's got special needs. And so back then, he would mumble, and then this guy, he would interpret the mumbles. Get it? Perfectly understandable. This guy, he hears Stephen Hawking mumbling and making sounds that kind of sound like, I don't know, a Wookiee from Star Wars, right? Chewbacca. So basically, he listens to Stephen Hawking do his Chewbacca impression, and then he interprets that. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Or model railroads, or playing complicated games, was aimed in some way at finding out how the world worked around me.
So in a sense, you went from modeling planes to modeling the universe.
I was never very good with my hands, so my models did not work very well. But I was always interested in models that I could control.
Now, some of you guys are probably wondering, how does the interpreter know what the fuck he's saying? Oh, well, Jake, don't be so insensitive and ask such a terrible question. In fact, asking a question like that is offensive to people like Stephen Hawking, who's dead now. So we're just not even going to answer your terrible question, Jake. No. How does the guy know what Stephen is saying, Jake? Stephen Hawking has some disabilities, and he's also a super genius. He's a super genius who has some disabilities. And this is also a genius interpreter. This man here, he's also a genius, and he's able to interpret those noises because he's obviously worked with Stephen Hawking so long to figure it out. So clearly, you can trust that this guy right here is interpreting every word perfectly correct. He's not missing a single word. Everything that Stephen Hawking wants to convey is surely coming out of this guy's mouth.
Or model railroads, or playing complicated games, was aimed in some way at finding out how the world worked around me.
So in a sense, you went from modeling planes to modeling the universe.
I was never very good with my hands, so my models did not work very well. But I was always interested in models that I could control. And I think that nowadays, I have translated that into studying physics. Because in a way, if you understand the universe, then you have control of it.
I wonder if, like, in between any of these clips, he was like, he's like, and I'm about to shit my diaper right now. Can we cut the clip right now? He's about to shit his diaper, right? So I guess they would cut that out, right? If he was about to shit his diaper and he was like, and he says that he learned to model up the universe at a very young age. Oh, and he needs to take a shit in his diaper right now. Right? But they cut that out. I just leave the important stuff.
If Einstein's general theory of relativity is correct, the universe began with a singularity called the Big Bang. Now, because it was a singularity, all the laws of physics broke down, and therefore we cannot predict how the universe began.
Wow, that's a lot of words for very little mumbling. It seemed like the words to mumble ratio isn't quite matching up, right? Like, Einstein's theory of relativity encompasses the entire Andromeda galaxy, which is, of course, 66.6 trillion light years across, and the dielectric subatomic particle of the nearby quasar star. It's like, dude, all he did was go, and then you like went on and you just like said an entire paragraph. So like 2 mumbles equals a paragraph.
Doesn't this sound like a good argument for the belief that God created the universe?
A few years ago, I was at a conference on cosmology that was held in the Vatican. And at the end of the conference, the participants were granted an audience with the Pope.
And guys, millions and millions and millions of people believe that Stephen Hawking is, in fact, a super genius who has some disabilities. So there's people who still believe, even while watching this, that he's a mumbling genius. And this guy right here is interpreting what the mumbling genius is saying. Just goes to show you how badly they duped us on like everything. They got us to believe a vegetable, a mumbling vegetable, was a super genius, and we all just believed it. That makes sense.
But they should not ask questions about the Big Bang itself, because that was the work of God. However, at that conference, I proposed that Einstein's general theory of relativity would have to be modified, and that modification would mean that there was no singularity, and all the laws of physics.
Dude, he stopped mumbling, but you're still talking. How are you still interpreting for a guy who's not mumbling that much? There was like a quiet moment there where he was just like, he's like, Einstein's theory of relativity is not something that he conjured up in just one night, but it was more of a lifetime of experience, scientific method, and engineering. And it's like, dude, where are all those words coming from?
Would hold at the Big Bang. And if that is the case, we can completely predict the state of the universe from the laws of physics.
What you're saying, does it mean that the universe isn't caused?
That's right. The universe does not have any beginning or end. It does not have any cause or consequences. It simply is.
Yeah, it's an entirely different Stephen Hawking experience. Normally, we would get the robot voice there, right? the universe is not something that man can fathom. It simply is. The universe simply is what the universe is. And the universe stretches on farther than any human will ever be able to fathom. Perhaps there never was an end to the universe. Perhaps an end is something that man created to envision a way for the universe to end, because the universe cannot end. So we got used to that, but then you go back and you watch this. And then you ask yourself, how does that guy translate his mumbles? You just might come to the conclusion, Stephen Hawking, are you ready for this? Was never a super genius. And they just tricked everyone into thinking that he was. When in actuality, he's a mumbling, special vegetable boy. Later on, it could have been a wax dummy. The robot voice, he stopped moving by then. So towards the end, the final year or two of Stephen Hawking, they could have just rolled out a wax dummy and had the robot voice do the talking.
The consequences of what you're proposing must be absolutely staggering.
Well, most scientists don't like to think too much about philosophical questions. Such questions are really badly defined.
Does that include you?
No, not including me.
So exactly what kind of implications fall out of your proposal?
Obviously, implications about the existence and the nature of God. Is there a God who intervenes in the universe, or one who wound up the clock to set things going?
Rose asks, wasn't the wife abusing him? I don't know. Maybe. I hope so. I hope he was thoroughly abused by his wife. I hope his wife staple gunned his balls in his sleep. I don't know why. I just think that would be funny if Stephen Hawking got his balls staple gunned while he was asleep. Like, would Stephen Hawking feel it if his balls got staple gunned? Would he notice? Probably not. Maybe that's how they kept him in his chair. They staple gunned his sack to the chair. All right.
But I think that most scientists still reserve judgment on how the universe was set up in the first place. Whether that was an act of God, or whether that too was subject to the laws of science. What I'm suggesting is that it was indeed subject to the laws of science.
I heard that when you found out about your disease, you became very bitter and depressed. You drank a lot. What happened to turn everything around?
After I got into drinking, I then got into snorting cocaine. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. And then, of course, that led to even harder stuff, like black tar heroin. I went on many cocaine and heroin binges. And then I developed this debilitating disease where I lost my ability to walk. I even lost my ability to speak. And then I started to shit my pants over and over. And that is when I realized I was going to have to become a super genius and hire somebody to interpret my grunts from now on.
I don't think I became bitter, but I was certainly depressed. I didn't at the time think there was much point in completing my PhD because my life expectancy was so short. The disease progressed rapidly at first, but then seemed to slow down. And around the same time, I began to fully understand the problem I was working on.
He's a survivor. He gon' give up. He gon' work harder because he's a survivor. He's Stephen Hawking. He's a survivor. Well, he's actually dead now, but he survived a long time, y'all. Yes, he survived longer than anyone with that debilitating disease. And since he was such a super genius, they let him have the talking box. And before he had the talking computer box, he had this awesome human interpreter who was able to understand his grunts and mumbles. I know you and I cannot understand his grunts and mumbles, but that interpreter can. That interpreter went to grunt and mumble interpretation school and learned how to interpret such mumbles and grunts. In fact, that interpreter is world renowned for being able to interpret the gruntiest of rambles. Right? Out of all the guys who can interpret mumbling, this is the best mumble interpreter in the world. He would have to be.
But what really made a difference was that I became engaged to Jane. That meant if I was going to get married, I'd have to get a job. And if I was going to get a job, I'd have to write some papers. So that really started me working. And I've been at it ever since.
You were very active here in Cambridge on behalf of the disabled, campaigning for lowered curbs and ramps, this kind of thing. What is your attitude towards your own disability?
It is a bit of an inconvenience, but it's not really prevented me from doing what I want to do in life. I've been very fortunate in being able to carry on, and that is really due to all the help I've had from my family and my colleagues.
Well, I think that the randomness of quantum mechanics is really a mismatch between quantum mechanics and us. In its own terms, quantum mechanics is deterministic, but there's a mismatch between quantum mechanics and us, which makes us think of it as being undeterministic.
Fuck your quantum mechanics. Biatch. Quantum mechanics are for fucking sissy losers. Take your quantum mechanics, shove them up your ass. Biatch. It's what he said. I'm just translating for Stephen. So there you guys have it. Stephen Hawking. He used to have human interpreters, and he could mumble, and they understood every word he said. There wasn't a single point where they were like, wait, can you repeat that? Hold on. I'm not exactly sure what he said that time. Stephen, can you do that? Can you mumble again? I didn't quite get it the first time. Doggy door, underwear, semen retention toothbrush. Stephen, you're not making any sense. Agua, lemon butter, horse cream? Horse cream? Stephen, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Oh, my bad. He meant to say that the quasi-mechanics of the nearby Andromeda galaxy is, of course, due to the compartmental compression of the distant galaxy star sun thinger. Damn it, I hate when I run out of scientific shit to say. Oh, now we can get creative. He said he needs someone to scratch his ass. I think he said he got a scratchy asshole and he wants someone to scratch his ass. I'm just here to do the interpreting, y'all. They didn't say nothing about me having to scratch or wipe nobody's ass.
I ain't wiping no white man asshole. I'm just here to do the interpretation. You know what I'm saying? He said he wants someone to give him a bowl of Cheerios. And you know when the Cheerios, they do that commercial and they got a man and they got a woman and one was black and one was white. I don't know why they be trying to do that, y'all. Just be making some Cheerios, y'all. I'm going to give this man a bowl of Cheerios, y'all. He said every time a black man come on screen, it make him feel inferior because he got a little teeny tiny white boy penis, and he's jealous that all the black men got big, huge, juicy penises. He said he want to go to the strip club and he want to stick a dollar bill inside one of them stripper G-string, and he said he want them to rub their titties all up and down all over his white boy face, and then he said he need me to wipe his ass, but I already said I ain't gonna be wiping no white man asshole.
Arnold Schwarzenegger interpreting what Stephen Hawking is saying. He says that you need to wash your hands, and if you do not wash your hands, then screw your freedom. He said that you need to take a chemical concoction, and if you do not take a chemical concoction, that you need to stay home. You do need to not go outside. You need to stay 6 feet away, and if you don't stay 6 feet away, then screw your freedom. That's what he said. I heard every syllable that come out of his mouth, and I translated it for you just perfectly. Hey, you know, he said that the last Rocky movie he saw, he said it was his favorite Rocky movie, you know, and that he can't wait for the next Creed movie to come out, you know. He said that he wants to eat an Oreo cookie and a glass of milk. He wants to dip the Oreo cookie inside the milk, and he wants to take it, and he wants to lick the cream. So he wants me to feed him some Oreo cookie, you know. There you go. There's Sylvester Stallone translating for Stephen Hawking. What, you think I'm dumb? What, you think I got no brain? What, you think I can't understand what you're saying? I know exactly what you say. What, you think I'm stupid? Adrian, this guy's calling me stupid. You think I've got no brain? What, you think I'm going to lose it? I'm afraid. What do you want me to say? I think what he's trying to say, if I was going to interpret what this man is saying, I'm pretty sure he says that you need to get right with God. He says that Chinese nano drones are making their way across the Pacific Ocean right now. You're going to need to get right with God. You're going to need to repent to Jesus. You're going to need to take your Bible and put it squarely between your legs so that the nano drones don't fly up your asshole. He also says, please like, share, and subscribe, or don't. At any rate, Stephen Hawking digresses. Who else wants to translate for Stephen Hawking? Folks, he says that not only are the frogs turning gay, but they're going to turn outer space gay next. They're turning Uranus gay. Folks, this is some serious stuff. We got a super genius here,
and I have the ability to translate every word that Stephen is saying. Stephen, can you tell us more about this diabolical plan by the evil elites? These goddamn evil, no good democrats, they're trying to eat people's asses. They're going to try and eat my neighbor's ass. Stephen Hawking is warning us all that these evil, no good, deep state sons of bitches are going to try and eat our ass. I, of course, developed this talent to interpret what Stephen Hawking is saying because I'm a very observant man. I paid attention to what he was saying back when he used to mumble and move his lips. So I know exactly everything that this man thinks and says. Folks, he's asking you to buy my male fertility pills. If you want to live longer than you've ever lived, you're going to need to buy my medical supplies. They're for sale on my website. Stephen Hawking is a super genius. He would never lie. He would never lead you astray. He, of course, also uses several of my products. That is why he is improving so rapidly.
Elmo thinks that Stephen Hawking is saying that he doesn't like being disabled and that he wishes he could get up out of his wheelchair and that he could go hang out with some hot bitches. Elmo is pretty sure that that is what Stephen Hawking is trying to say. Elmo thinks that Stephen Hawking want to come to Sesame Street and hang out with Big Bird. Big Bird might know exactly what to do with Stephen Hawking to help him with his ALS. Elmo know exactly what Stephen is saying when he mumble. Stephen Hawking is a super genius and Elmo is a super interpreter, so Elmo know exactly what he says whenever he says it.
Well, let me tell you something. If you think that man knows what created the universe, then you've got a lot to learn about the cosmos. If you want to mess with Stephen Hawking, then you are going to need to step into a Slim Jim. Oh, yeah.
As Macho Man interpreting for Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, man, he said he wants to get high and smoke a joint, man. He said he's tired of being inside of a wheelchair, man. He said he wants to light up a big fat honking joint, man. You know what, man? I got a joint for a special occasion right now. This man, he wants to get high, man. It's like his birthday, you know. So I'm gonna roll a fat one right now, and me and Stephen Hawking are gonna get high, man. Hey, I'm just a love machine, and I don't work for nobody but you. And when my temperature rises, and then I go for her thighs, and then I say, guacamole machu.
Yeah, man. He said he really wants to get up out of the wheelchair and he wished he could walk again. But most of all, he said he wished that his little ding-a-ling could work so that he could whack off again, man. Yes, he said he wishes he could have an orgasm, man.
There you go. Cheech and Chong interpreting for Stephen Hawking. He said he wants somebody to wipe his butt.
Yeah. He said he wants someone to touch his wiener. Boing.
Yeah. He said he wants a pretty girl to touch his wiener. This guy's pretty cool.
Yeah. I wish I was a super genius, so like I could have someone like interpretate for me. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Beavis, you'll never be a super genius. You're more like a super dumbass.
No way. I'm cool. One of these days, somebody's going to interpret for me.
Well, I think he said he wants to go buy some propane and some propane accessories. I don't know what this feller's trying to say, but I think he wants some propane.
What we're going to do now that I'm the best president of the greatest country, once more, we're going to implement Trumptricity into all of your lovely homes. And in fact, we're going to be running Stephen Hawking's electric robot talking voice on nothing but pure Trumptricity. It's going to be leaner, greener, meaner, far superior than regular electricity. Stephen Hawking, of course, a super genius. He's going to help us fix the economy. Stephen, how exactly can we save the most amount of money? We want to save millions. Scratch that. We want to save billions and billions. How are we going to save the economy, Stephen Hawking? Stephen says that if we were to eliminate the penny, we would save millions and millions right away. And then, of course, we can start to eliminate all pocket change. We're going to eliminate the nickel. We're going to eliminate the dime. Next goes the quarter. And then, of course, we're going to move not to the electric dollar, but the Trumpala. That's right. One Trumpala is going to be worth more than $1. It's going to fix the economy. Not only are we going to implement Trumptricity, we're going to replace the dollar with the Trumpala. He say he ain't trying to fuck with the NBA. Stephen Hawking said he ain't trying to fuck with outer space. He said he don't even know who be creating outer space. He ain't trying to fuck with evolution. Yeah, he was trying to mess with space travel, but they wasn't trying to work with him. So he was like, fuck you. And they was like, what? And Stephen Hawking was like, hell yeah. I guess. I guess.